Oh, Mathew Knowles, that's who we're speaking with right now. His book, Racism for the Eyes of a Child. I mean, it sounds like...
Did you ever call me down, Matthew Knowles? Nobody calls me.
What do you want to be called, sir? You tell me, because it's your
Mister. No.
Oh, mister. You don't like your first name?
No, I'm 66 and a grown-ass man that's accomplished a lot of things. Anyone 60s, you say Mr. and Mrs.
And I do. And I'm from the South, born and raised. However...
Mama would be really disappointed. People that call me Matthew are people that I know, that they're friends of mine. We're in the same circles, financial circles, those type of things, but nobody...
I feel you. You in a whole nother tax bracket.
Well, if someone was doing a movie, not
but no, people compare them. People do compare them.
Talent-wise? Are you telling me talent-wise, somebody is an idiot enough to compare her to Beyonce talent-wise?
They say she's literally like a young Beyonce in the making.
I'm asking you a yes or no question. Are you telling me someone's an idiot enough to compare her to Beyonce talent-wise?
She's very talented, but Beyonce's a
yes or no? Are there people saying her talent is equal to Beyonce? They are idiot, period. That's actually insulting to Beyonce. I mean, you know, if you wanted to call out some like Barbara Streisand or some people like that, like come on, man, really?
Chloe is talented though. That's why Beyonce.
I want to get off this topic. I don't even want to talk about it.
I got to tell people what they are expecting from Impact with Mathew Knowles.
Now I'm gonna go get Chloe to be one of my guests.
You got to now, Mathew.
See, somebody just said this interview was going great and it just got cringy. Cringy. What the hell does cringy mean?
It means uncomfortable.
It didn't get uncomfortable for me. You are insulting a young lady for no reason. Actually, it's you're insulting the young lady for no reason. No, I asked a question. When I responded, if anyone think that, they're an idiot. You didn't listen carefully. You got emotional, whoever you were, and you weren't listening. Because that's what happens when you're emotional. You don't hear the words. Anyway,
but yes,
what turned into a wonderful, great interview is now ending up on some bullshit. And I'm out. I enjoyed this.
I didn't
want this to end in a negative note. I wanted to really come on here to talk about Mathew Knowles' impact instead of talking about some shit I shouldn't even been asked about. Thank you very much, Leah.
Thank you, Mathew. Have a good night.
Mr. Knowles, not Mathew.
Thank you, Mr. Knowles.
Our issue was strictly with management, and it had nothing to do with Beyonce and Kelly.
Did you get your dad back?
No, it was hard. I had to sacrifice my relationship with my dad.
He was the man behind the machine, the father, the manager, the strategist. But the closer you get to Mathew Knowles, the more disturbing the story seems to become. Before there was Beyonce, the icon, there was a house of silence where only one voice mattered, his. And behind that silence were girls trying to survive it. I'm not claiming anything to be true or untrue, but these stories come from autobiographies, biographies, interviews, and online gossip. I'm just presenting what possibly happened. And what possibly happened is a pattern of control, humiliation, and something possibly far more unsettling. Mathew Knowles didn't just manage Destiny's Child, he owned every detail of their image. From the branding to the outfits to the interview answers, nothing moved unless he moved it. Multiple members have since described him as controlling, cold, and volatile. Latavia Robertson once said Mathew did not mince his words, and his criticism can be tough to take when you are a little girl. Farrah Franklin said that Matt's nickname was Ikey Joe because his ways were borderline abusive. He famously told LaToya and Latavia they were replaceable, and then he replaced them. Before Mathew took over, the girls belonged to someone else. Her name was Andreta Tilman. She co-founded the original group Girls Time. She paid for their voice lessons, their photo shoots, their studio time. She mortgaged her own home to fund their careers. But when Andreta got sick, everything changed. She died in 1997, just 3 months before the girls were officially signed. She was 39 years old, and Mathew Knowles became the sole manager. Her estate would later accuse Mathew of misusing group funds for drugs and sex workers. They said he erased Andreta from the story completely, and that's when the real control began. Mathew was harsh on the girls. He spoke to them in any kind of way, was quick to let them know that they were replaceable, especially when it came to his daughter Beyonce. He helped to lower their self-esteem and brought out long-lasting insecurities that a lot of them still struggle with to this day. But one of the girls was supposedly treated very differently, and perhaps even dangerously. According to the book, The Making of a Child of Destiny, the Andreta Tilman story by Brian Kenneth Moore, it describes how Mathew Knowles was extremely hard on Kelly for some reason. The book says he was verbally and emotionally abusive to her. He was always mad at her, telling her things like, "You can never do nothing right." Other adults in the camp started watching more closely. They noticed the tone, the dominance, the obsession with control that was really targeted towards her specifically. The book continued to explain his mistreatment of Kelly by saying it could have been because her mother wasn't present. Who knows? But what many of us saw and discussed was that he was extra mean to Kelly, the book says. But according to what I'm about to tell you, the treatment may have gone far beyond just being mean to Kelly. Far beyond that. According to Moore's book, one team member allegedly walked into Mathew's house unannounced, and what he claimed to see was extremely disturbing. They claimed to see Mathew in his underwear and Kelly in the bathroom. It looked inappropriate. The people panicked. Some thought it was nothing. Others thought it was something. The book continued. Anne spoke discreetly with the other adult members and asked them to be very observant and watchful of Mathew, because they didn't trust what seemed to be his inappropriate actions around her. One of the team members said, "There's some inappropriate shit going on between Mathew and Kelly, and we need to watch his ass with these damn girls." Some even argued that they didn't believe he did it because Mathew was too mean to her. They thought if he was harming her in that way, then he'd be way nicer. They even brought up fellow member Latavia's devastating history of essay, and said they could tell that she was harmed in that way because she was too seductive for her age, but Kelly was too quiet. Disgusting how ignorant and dangerous that type of thinking is, as if abuse only comes with kindness. Now, did anything happen? We don't know. But the whispers in that house were loud. But what was even louder? The fact that no one did anything, they didn't even investigate it. And this is how these cycles continue to go unchecked. But as we know, Destiny's Child did end up becoming superstars and became very successful. But none of that stopped Matthews' mistreatment of the girls. We already know how he savagely got rid of LaToya and Latavia, and they had to sue him. Then the revolving door of new members. But Mathew always let them all know it was about his daughter, the Destiny's Child Beyonce, his cash cow. But even he did her dirty too, allegedly. It's been rumored that Mathew Knowles had admitted to battling cocaine addiction during his years managing Destiny's Child, and he supposedly mismanaged funds. Pretty soon, Kelly also got rid of him as her manager, and eventually Beyonce cut ties completely, firing her own father as well, after he allegedly stole from her during her tour. The man who launched her career ended up outside the gates. Then he wasn't a stand-up husband either, because he'd had extramarital affairs on his ex-wife, Tina Knowles. He also fathered multiple children outside his marriage while being seen as a great leader in the group. Mathew has never shied away from his colorist ways. After all, this is the same man that bragged in his own book about how he wanted his first wife, Tina, because he thought she was a white woman, and how his own mother said not to bring home no black nappy-headed woman. So it started early for him. And he used this for his and his daughter's advantage. Mathew once said Beyonce had an advantage in her career because she was lighter skinned, and how he and Tina used to make the other members tan their skin darker so that Beyonce's light skin would be the only one to stand out. And while Kelly has never spoken about anything like this happening to her, it still seems her growing up with the Knowles may have affected her in ways that have negatively impacted her self-esteem. And we even see the manifestation of that today. Kelly Rowland has spent most of her career living in Beyonce's shadow, even while sharing the stage. She's sang and spoken about feeling invisible and being second best in comparison to Beyonce. She even does things that seems to dim her own light to uplift the Knowles. Then there's no telling just how bad Mathew's treatment harmed her, especially if he did in fact harm her in that way. Mathew Knowles isn't just a controversial figure. He's a reminder that behind every empire is a story somebody tried to bury. He gave us Beyonce, but what did it cost? Who got protected and who got sacrificed? Was all of this worth it? So lurkers, what do you think? What do you think about Mathew Knowles and his tactics? Do you believe the story written about him possibly harming Kelly Rowland? Let me know down below.